Hello everybody, welcome to a shop talk. This is a little demo on how I cleaned my brayers. Eventually I gave in and started to clean them and soak them. So I was able to get this one halfway decent. I soaked it in. I didn't use Murphy's because I didn't have any. So I used a solution of dishwashing liquid and hot water and a little bit of bleach. And I think the bleach softened the acrylic paint. So eventually it skinned off. And I don't know if you can see, it has some, I use these very hard. I use these constantly, and there's some nicks here and some scratches. But I thought I would make this like a public service announcement, and I actually think this is oddly satisfying to see the old acrylic paint just come off. You see, once it reaches a certain thickness, it just comes off, it skins off. So let me just show you. Now I'm not going to use my razor blade because that will damage, it will damage the rubber surface of the brayer. Takes a little bit of doing, but once I find the closest thing I can think of is like finding the leading edge of tape, especially if it's packaging tape. It's kind of tricky to do, but once you find the leading edge, this is harder than the other one. The other one just came right off. Okay, while my brayers are soaking some more, I thought I would make some more of these reusable stencils. So they come in these pastel colors, which I like, and they're easy to spot on the plate while I'm applying the acrylic paint. So I will just do very simple strips. And then have some notches for interest. I'm leaving this tab here. I think it's an interesting shape. It's like an ear. So I'm going to do more horizontal and vertical shapes. It's easier to use a good pair of scissors than a razor blade because these are a little heavier gauge and it would be tough to cut them. I mean, it's doable, but I'd rather use the easy way and safe way. It's safer to use scissors. And I cannot have too many pairs of scissors in the house. Okay, I have my vertical pieces now, aside from the round and oval shapes that you see a lot. I'm going to save these little pieces as well because they're good fillers and they can be washed. That's the good thing about them. Okay. They're the new shapes. Now let me check on my brayers and see what happened. Okay, everybody. While I'm waiting for my brayers to get clean, I decided to start another composition. And as usual, I will lay down the first layer of marks. And this is my True Red fat marker. We'll start with this vertical line. Then I'll follow up with my Sharpie, which is smaller. Now, since this is alcohol based, it comes right off. Okay, now this is just my style of drawing. When you do lines or circles, you have to be very quick and decisive. I think that carries over when you make your lines or marks. It will show if you're not sure. So when you have confidence to make decisive strokes, that shows. And I believe in that. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with you. So now that I have my marks for the first layer, I will use unbleached titanium. Now this is probably the end of the tube, so I may have to cut it open. Let me see if I can squeeze it out first. Actually, it's not too bad. I think that will tide me over. I'm going to use my newly cleaned brayer. Oops. Now there are some advantages to have a very clean brayer. It's very smooth and it glides very well. It doesn't cause unnecessary marks if you don't want them. Okay, so for the first layer, I am going to refrain from using my scribbles. And let me just clean this up. Okay. Now today I'm not using Somerset. I found some heavy watercolor paper by Blick, and I want to give it a try. This is quite heavy and it is textured. I'm sure there's less chance of tearing, and it looks like a very sturdy paper. This is also not as expensive because it's a domestic paper. I will put the link in the description box below if you wish to purchase this paper. Now this is not an endorsement by any means, but I just like to share the papers that I use. There are some which are great, there are some that are not so great. So I'm just letting you know. And it also depends on how much money you can spend, because printing paper can be very expensive. I know some papers like Arches are $10 a sheet, and that's a little too much for me. Especially when I do a lot of filming. So it adds up. Okay, I will leave this for 10 minutes because I'm trying to pick up the ink markers. Okay, I think it's almost 10 minutes. Let's see what we have here. Paper's really picking up all the details. Very cool. I like the fact that it's picked up every little bit of the markers. And I don't know if you can tell on screen, but the fat marker has a purplish cast, and the Sharpie is more of a black, a true black color. Very cool. I'm pleased with this. So I'm going to work on a second layer, and fortunately the paint isn't that wet. It's almost dry. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, I will be doing a split fountain of yellow oxide on this side. And Arctic on this side. So these are both very light colors. I think I put too much paint. Okay, let me just spread this out. Now the Arctic is slightly watery. The yellow oxide has a much heavier consistency. Okay. Now this time I'm gonna add some scribble marks, additional texture. I think these vertical shapes are a welcome change from the half circles and circles that you've been seeing for a while. It was actually not easy to find the plastic dividers. I had to keep going back to the discount store, and they usually sell these plastic dividers when school starts, and they don't sell them when it's not the season. So I lucked out and I found some on sale. So I grabbed a whole bunch. I think I bought 5 packages. Okay. I think I got all the stencils off. Now here is the print with the permanent markers. So I'm starting out with the light color, which is unbleached titanium, and then working my way darker and darker. And by doing that, I'm creating a series of layers and creating the illusion of depth. It's just like when you do a landscape, you paint the furthermost objects in the distance, and then you come closer and closer. Okay, let's see what we have here. It's a great ghost print too. go. I like that. So we'll air dry this and then figure out the third layer. This is too good to waste, so I'm going to use oxide green and turquoise. See if I can capture this ghost. Okay, I will leave this for about 5 minutes. Okay, let's see what we have here. Very interesting result. Very beautiful, actually. It's gorgeous textures. So I will air dry this and then continue on to the next step. So I decided to use turquoise on this column. And copper on this side. Again, it's a split fountain. So this way there's the illusion that it's a lot of passes, which actually I can get two colors with one pass. So here is the piece with the second layer. Okay, let's see what we have here. Okay, it's getting a little more interesting. Now, I really believe this needs a fourth layer. I have to figure out the color scheme. I think the addition of black is going to help. So let me think about it. Let me try to make use of this. Now I'm pressing a little bit harder because I want to pick up what's left. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. Oh, it did pick up. And I like the effect. It's kind of a powdery effect. I like that. And I think the little touches of copper are very successful. Pretty cool. Okay, so I may stop with this one. This one looks complete. So let me air dry both of them and then make a decision. Everyone, I'm back. I think this will be the last layer for this first piece. I'm going to use a very bright cadmium red on this side to contrast with the turquoise. And hopefully that will create some interesting vibration. Now, there are certain colors, when you combine them, they vibrate. And then this is Lucas Indigo. Now, indigo can take the place of black. in creating kind of a skeleton or scaffold. Now this is when the little roller comes in handy if I want to work around the nooks and crannies. So instead of rolling all over the plate, I can just roll on the parts that I want. So I'm hoping that this will create a last layer that looks very painterly. Now I could have used a small brush also, but I like the rough gestures of the brayer. Yeah. Okay, I think I got all of the stencils off. And here is the piece with so hopefully this will be the final layer. Okay, let's see what we have here. This is exciting. Very cool. I think the interactions of the colors are great. And it's actually a pretty complex image. I'm going to see if this will work on the ghost print. Now here's the ghost print. It's still very quiet colors. It's very serene. Or maybe I can stir things up. That's a nice thing about using the reusable stencils. I can create a whole series of related images because the shapes are similar. So, true to the definition, they are monoprints. They're not monotypes. A monotype is a print that has no, there's no piece that's alike to it. It's truly unique. Now a monoprint has, I call them siblings. It has, it's part of a series of related images. That's why I like to call my work monoprints. Because they're done in sets, because once you pull one print you have a ghost print, and then you pull that print and that print has another ghost print, and so on and so on. Okay, let's see what we have here. Yep, it does wake things up. And it is very true to the aesthetic of mid-century modern. I love it. So I will air dry this and then recap. Okay, everybody, here is the last portion of this video. Now here is the first print with all its layers. I actually lost count. No, the first layer is the Sharpie. The second layer is the blue and raw sienna. The third layer is a turquoise and copper. And then the fourth layer is the indigo and the vermilion. So it has 4 layers. And this is the result. It's a very complex, engaging image. I think sometimes when an image is very complicated, it invites the viewer to look at it very carefully. So here's a close-up. So the interaction of color creates this vibration and generates interest. Okay, that's the first print. Now the shapes are still clearly defined, but they have a soft, kind of a powdery look to them, almost like a pastel drawing. I also think it has something to do with the texture of the watercolor paper, because this is watercolor paper that I'm using. It's a heavy cold press watercolor paper from Blick, and I think the textures are beautiful. Okay, I will try to put these two side by side, see if they fit. So you can see certain elements repeat themselves, like this shape here that looks like a mask, and then this elongated shape here, and the same here, this oval shape that has 2 holes in it. So I hope you liked this video. It was great fun for me, another adventure. And again, I don't want to sound repetitious, but I want to say thank you to all of you for making this possible. And for those who can, please check out my new website, artwhisperer88.com, and lend a helping hand to keep this channel going through my PayPal. I hope to see you next time.